Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment in the Quickview series. This one we'll just call Humanism via Hypocrisy. We'll expose my own hypocrisy somewhat recently to the recording of this particular installment. I reviewed a set of tires that had a street price of $33 a pair, and I harped on this quite a bit during that review because that particular set of tires, I don't want to name names, I don't want to be namey, that particular set of tires did not offer anything above and beyond what is offered by tires that are $28 a pair or $25 a pair, etc. I'm not happy with the state of the industry. I don't like $33 a pair for tires because that means $66 a set for tires, and for tires that are about that big around, that's, I mean, it's inexcusable. And you'll often see manufacturers using what I call the shoe method, which is a size 6 women's shoe and a size 14 man's shoe cost the exact same amount. That's a benefit to me wearing a size 14 man's shoe, but then when you watch women buy shoes, you're like, there's a third of the material in that shoe and it costs the exact same amount. I don't know, it's balancing out the market. Is that equity? Is that what equity looks like? Anyway, we have a set of tires that are $32 a pair here today, and not tested yet. I'm almost willing to excuse it because we left one here in the bag so we can go through the whole process. Because do you see that right there? This is RC4WD X2SS. I mean, let's just give it a RC4WD X2SS. It's that compound. And stunning. Okay. This is a Mickey Thompson Baja MTZ. At this point, I'm starting to think that RC4WD makes an infinite variety of them. Here is an RC4WD Baja MTZ. As you can see, it's not quite the same as this one. I've tested another RC4WD Baja MTZ, which was the size of that one, the size of this one, but they're all just different widths. They make the thinnest one is under 40 millimeters wide, and it is a 2.2. This is also a 2.2. That thin 2.2 is made out of X2S3, aka the compound nobody asked for. This is made out of X2SS, which is like black bubblegum. And the surprise is that's a medium foam, everybody. If you had this in one hand and a J Concepts 1.9 foam in the other hand, I challenge you would not be able to tell the difference. They feel exactly the same. So why do I excuse this tire at $2 cheaper per set than the other set of tires? I mean, there can be many. You know how many tires out there are $33 a pair? I don't want a specific number. The only acceptable answer is too many. I mean, it's X2SS. They got the compound and the carcass right. They've pretty much gotten it right every time. We've got no ribbing. We've got no belting. We have a perfect consistency from the transition on the sidewall. They're not super gummo like Vanquish Red tires tend to be. We've got a proper beadlock lip, which means they're going to be easier to mount. They'd be easier to mount if they were 1.9. They'll be exceptionally easy to mount being 2.2s. Getting an RC4WD tire with a functional foam included is, it's like catching a unicorn. RC4WD Drive famous. I started to think that there was a certain department down there that didn't know what foam was. Like, if they had to do like a multiple choice test and it said, pick out the foam, they would not get it right. But that is just a medium foam. And because it's a 2.2, and because it's got such a big lip, despite it being one of the tackier compounds on the market, it has a foam that fits. We can get this basically, it's all the way down. We can get this all the way down. So we have a Class 2 2.2. I know some places there are ruling bodies that have restrictions about how it has to be a 1.9, but these are often the same ruling bodies that have restrictions that say things like must have a scale real world representative. Nah. In all the instances where I've done the stretch, which is put a 2.2 rim inside of a 1.9 tire, you can't run out there and say that there's no drawbacks, because the thickness of the sidewall on a 1.9 tire is going to be, should be, different from the thickness of the sidewall on a 2.2 tire, because a 2.2 tire just simply has a shorter sidewall, so it doesn't need to be as thick. Now, it's not massive, and it's very close. Look at brand new X2SS. And I don't get it. I don't understand this movement towards let's get every tire until it's so thin it looks like a tire from a racing bicycle. I don't understand it. It is not advantageous. The thinner a tire gets, the more specific the foam gets, the more weight changes are going to display themselves in an amplified manner. Just look at the tires of yore. Look at Panther Cougars, HPI Sedonas, Proline Chisels, Rovers, big, fat beach ball tires. Do they look scale? No. Should that be your number one concern? I argue no. 121 millimeters, which is 4 3/4 plus the width of a laser line. So these are marketed as 4.75, and they are indeed. They claim to be 2.1 inches wide. And they are 51 millimeters. 51 millimeters? 52 millimeters. So not quite 2.1. 2 inches plus the width of a laser line. Nevertheless, pleases me greatly to see a nice, like, you get the right rim on there. Somebody's not even going to notice that it's a 2.2. That foam feels pretty great. The foam feels pretty great. Is our man baseline going to exit? Is he going to give enough ground pressure? We're going to find out in a minute. Why the Baja MTZ has rapidly become a favorite. See that lug? Flip it over. There's that lug again. Completely non-directional. That's got a nice, I feel positive. Can we do the trick? Not there. How about now? Yeah. Let's get the, yeah. It's X2SS. It is one of my favorite compounds for a good reason. It doesn't care if it's wet or dry. It doesn't particularly care if it's hot or cold. Lost the wheel nuts there for a moment. 52 millimeters wide is going to, we might get a little, we might get a little fender noise. We are going to be incredibly low PSI out there because baseline, the Enduro Sendero SE is not a heavyweight by any means. He is possibly too light for these, but I genuinely believe that with a contact patch that wide on X2SS, I mean, just look. Yeah, buddy. Through some real, man, they're like drag tires back there. Yeah, $32 a pair. I'm not happy about it. But in contrast to what I had said about the other set of tires that we'd reviewed at $33 a pair, my core of it was there needs to be a reason. There's got to be a reason. If you are just another Class 2, if you're another 4.75 inch tire, regardless of what your lug looks like, why? Why are you an option? So, test untested, these I would consider to be an option because weird, you know, weird gets points. It's a 475 2.2. I'd like to see more 475 2.2s. We've seen a few in the past with varying degrees of success. We saw nothing too good with the narrow 2.2 Baja MTZ. Again, X2S3. X2SS, the Baja MTZ, the one that you saw a moment ago, is fantastic. Is it going to get better or worse going wide? I think the self-right is going to be absurd. I think because of the lack of sidewall, I don't, like, seriously. Oh, this is like stacking cairns. We could, you give me a half an hour, we'll get that foam pack down and it'll, I think we're going to side hill reasonably well. Nothing to do but the 10 stages, the tire test protocol. My expectations are directly parallel to the 1.9 Baja MTZ. But, you know, options are better. Sometimes weird is good. You put like a Steely on this, and people, from a distance, people won't be able to tell it's a 2.2. Advantageous at 52 millimeters wide. Only one way to tell. We make our way out onto the course where it is 76, 25, 65. It's a little muggy in the morning. It's also 76 just before 8 a.m. So, how is the high today going to be? 93. Anyway, these delivered on all of the X2SS things that we know on the drive back. It just sounded like of all the little tiny rocks and gravel being picked up and thrown up against the body as he was driving. So we should see X2SS things. Yes, baseline still has the chirp, because I can't tell where the chirp is coming from. You know, it's definitely doing the X2SS things. Shorter sidewall, man. Shorter sidewall. Did I see any decent amount of hesitation there? Straight over the bean. Okay, that squeak is getting pronounced. It's an out of sight, out of mind issue. I take him back in. He gets those shoes taken off and his regular shoes back on, and it's out of my head. It's gone instantly. It is not the only one that I think about. Oh, it's real squeaky though. Oh yes. This is big number stuff. I'm gonna have to take another. Okay, all right. Oh, hold on. In terms of RC four-wheel drive stuff, unquestionably the best tire to foam relationship. Get it real slow. These, I tell. I'm looking for the micro hesitations. We see these micro hesitations. And when you get into the top end of the scoring scale, it all comes down to that. A little bit of hesitation is the difference between two scores. Between, like, a tenth of a point is found inside some tiny hesitations, some little slips, some inaccuracy in steering. It's not here. It's not here. Nine eight. This is up there with the elites. And shout out to the forgotten name, hashtag from the comments, who mentioned somewhere in a comment on the Discord, somewhere, someone said, hey, there's a 2.2 MTZ. And my first thought was, yeah, I know, I tested it. It was terrible. And then I went and I looked it up. And sure enough, there it is, X2SS 2.2, 475 tall. And here we are, coming off Slick Rock on a 9.8. I know it's not every time, but it feels like every time I pick up camera 2, there's an ant on it. Like on the camera. So he went straight up the tripod. Jeez. Single stage foam is going to prioritize forward drive. When you have a single stage foam that is a little bit more of the opposite of the donut that you want to get when you buy a donut, big hole in the middle, not a lot of donut. There's no real drawback. We do this test often. It's about salvageability. We get out there, can we pull it back? It's the second time now I've managed to get myself in that spot. As always, it's stupid rock sliders, man. What side am I getting too much of? It doesn't quite have that pullback. The positionability is high, really high. And I think a lot of that is brought on by tires that are what some might consider excessively wide. So we have some issue up on the straight center pull. This side is bumper. There we go. Every input elicits a reaction. Every throttle input elicits a reaction. Sometimes it doesn't quite go where I would like it, but Oh, when it does, this is the squeaky episode. That squeak is not getting better. I feel like it would be excessive to drop to a 9.6. I feel like a 9.7 is a little bit generous, a little bit. It's like a 9.65. The scoring scale might not have the granularity we need right here. It's kind of too late. You know, we're far closer to 200 tires tested than not. So we're just going to be like, oh, well, now we'll just change the scoring and invalidate all of the prior scoring. So 9.8 at Slick Rock, 9.7 at Daphne's Line at Undertaker. We're not, there's nothing to be mad about yet. I'm not at all upset about half a point of reduction through 2. It's kind of where you want to be. That little slip, that little slip. Get back to where we were. High, low, wait. Okay, we might have a little bit of an issue of I'm driving into this in the way the tire doesn't like. I don't feel any of the giveaway until it's already happened. We get right here. I'm trying to watch. Okay, that rear, it was squidging a little bit. It's getting real light on the high side. Okay. In transition. Yeah, it gets all of a sudden unpredictable. Now, is there the possibility that we're getting a little bit mechanical? Like right there, when we're crossed up in that situation right there, we've got tread into driver rear fender and we've got tread into passenger front fender. Is it a problem? Could be. Speaking of invalidating test results, let's do something that I don't think has ever been done before. Seeing that Baseline has one of the quickest bodies to mount and unmount. Oh, the body is actually keeping in a lot of that squeak. Yeah. It's not the body at all. It just, there's a little wildness streak, 9.5. Pretty average on the cross. We expect some weight transfer. I didn't expect that kind of reaction to the weight transfer. It's disappointing on the side hill. I was feeling a little off this morning, so I didn't bring Thermacell, and I deeply regret not having Thermacell with me. Dead. Because when I was first carrying out the equipment, I thought, that's not bad. Like I saw, there was a gnat or two. But good God, you get into the right spots where your face is in the shade. It's just a cloud. Your face is in a cloud. You might say, I don't understand the correlation. Last time I got my head right in the jet, the Thermacell invisible smoke, and I felt genuinely weird for about 6 hours after. So I didn't want to add that to the already feeling a little off this morning. They're so responsive, man. Oh. Yeah, that's good. MTZ definitely has some prioritization of forward drive. Got to try the shuttle. Are we going to slide back? Not at all. You can't give. You gotta keep steady like that. See, I dropped throttle too much. We're swinging back up. That was clean throughout. You're pretty much guaranteed a 9.7 if you dead pull the left-hand side. I'm going to jump back up to a 9.8. That gives us 1.2 points of deduction so far. We're still looking pretty good. For better or worse, my hopes for the performance here at Oblivion are now extraordinarily high. Yeah, that sidewall lug feels sharp in the hand. It feels particularly sharp on the rock. It's really a next level maneuverability. It's got a little bit of expressed instability kind of at the limit. I think complete tread non-directionality just kind of trends towards that. But in terms of accuracy, exactly, like if you aim it toward the line that you want, it goes. Is the included insert the ultimate? I don't think so. Is it still the oh, I got that was fender or bumper. It shot me loose. Okay, let's come back around. I was like, why am I stuck? Bang. And the forward drive is very. That little 4 millimeters of additional width. Okay, don't get, so right here, I drove in, I backed it up, I repositioned. They're so responsive, it's almost like they get ahead of you. I got the bumper right in the same spot again. Get out of there. Wider is better, right up until it isn't. They get you into a little bit of trouble. They might be too wide for a number of applications. Is a 52 millimeter wide class 2 too wide for a full fender body? Maybe. If this was on a tucked, we'd be having less issue. Nevertheless, it was a hovering 9.8. We dock a 10th for the little weirdness, because the bumper hang doesn't usually happen. So tires got to be contributing. 9.7 takes us to 1.5 points of deduction halfway through. As he sits, he now questions, is an excess of forward drive bad at sidehilling? Not always, but I would say sometimes. In this instance, I believe it is. Because the pivot for gate 2 back there, that's the best anybody's done on that in a while. Do we got a center in us? Usually you need a taller tire. Madness. Madness, they call it madness. Back to the 9/8. It's so much forward drive. It's so much. Like, just steady state throttle stuff. Whoa! Like Spider-Man. Superhero landing. Give me what? Yeah, I mean, the bump is going to have a degree of unpredictability. But let's see, I mean, we can full energy return. But going back to how much forward drive we have. That's your bump. Like you're talking like, you're adding 20% to the throttle. We're talking like 40% throttle bumps. You can keep it super flat. You better do what I think you're gonna do. You notice how it never went towards roll. Do a side catch, pow. Spin it around. Go for the cyclone. Ooh, sharp. Mmm. Mmm. It's going to vary body to body, obviously. On this one, on the Sendero, it's not the best self-right I've seen. But, I mean, it's really good. I feel 888. I feel that was astonishingly consistent across. 9.8, but if you power bump it, it's going to go wild, but you're never going to have to. Your bump is likely never to exceed like 50% throttle. So, yeah, that energy return is going to be ridiculous. If you nail something with a lot of force, this thing is going, as the poets would say, ass over tea kettle. So, don't do that. We were at 1.5, add another 0.6, we're at 2.1 points of reduction. 2 stations to go, and I think we have an idea of how it's going to do on wet. I'm starting to feel like the Baja MTZ is sneaking up and replacing the Baja Claw as my favorite X2SS tire, because it comes in a lot of sizes. I haven't checked to see if there's a class 1, but if there's a class 1 X2SS Baja MTZ, I need to get it. Came in a little straight there, bud. Get over. Sliders again. Oh yeah. It's just good, you know? It's good. You can see where it's imperfect. The side hill at the limit is not great. If you give it a lot of juice on a bump, also won't be the best. Self-right is fantastic. If you're out somewhere where you don't want to have to walk and flip your vehicle over, so long as you're not shoehorned in between some rocks. Like, look at it through the chop section up there. It's just composed. Was that other $33 tire we were talking about? This kind of exhibits opposite behaviors. Yeah, pointy shooty in a lot of instances. Through the middle chop, they act taller than they are and shorter than they are at the same time. Like, it doesn't specifically feel like a full 475 to me until it's clearing stuff that we wouldn't ordinarily be clearing if we're on a 465, 460. It's about the width again, right? 4 millimeters wider. And then when you're talking about 1/10 of an inch, when you're talking about the difference between a 475 and a 465, you're talking about 2.5 millimeters of difference in height. And what a difference 2.5 millimeters can make, which is hopefully, I mean, I don't need to say. Y'all know what need be said. In case I didn't say it aloud, and I don't think I did, we continue the string of 9.8s for squeak go away? Where'd the squeak go? It's concerning. Squeaks don't usually go away. The forward drive is like for real. Grab, get the belly, position the belly over. You get that skid out. Do not forget, keep always in mind, baseline is stock element rails, stock element skid placement. No angle on the skid, none of those LCG things. It's an Sendero SE. And he's done this particular maneuver a couple of times. We'll go easy side, though it's X2SS. I don't think it's really gonna matter. If anything, X2SS might look a little better when we get onto sections of clean rock. I mean, I can't give it a deduction. I can't give it a deduction. So that's 2 more 9/8s, 9/8 at transition, and a 9/8 here, which I think lands us on a 97.7. Maybe 97.6? 2.1, 2.3. 96.5? 2/8. Is it 96.5? No, I'm sorry. 97.5. It's either a 97.5 or a 97.7. Okay, I need to do the math in my head. 2, 3, and 5 is 1. And 2 is 1.2. And 3 is 1.5. And then the 3 together was 2.1. And then it is 2.5, 97.5. It's 97.5. It's 97.5, brought down a little bit by Sidehill. The 1.9 Baja MTZ is a 97.7. And honestly, you could call this a 97.7 and feel okay with it. I think the 1.9 version in the same diameter, in the same 475 size, I think is a little more balanced. I think this, the 2.2 wide, not to be confused with the very lackluster 2.2 narrow brought to us by the compound. I think this tire is a little more prioritizing of forward drive. I think this tire is, confusingly, a little more picky about what insert would be the optimal insert, right? You might need a little softer or a little firmer, and that's a little bit of a problem. I mean, you can stretch 1.9 foams over a 2.2 wheel, it kind of just firms them up a little. You're gonna have to do some trial and error to get to the insert that you like, unless you mount up your set of Baja 2.2 MTZ wides and they just sing that perfect sweet song. These are very close for baseline. I think he's either too light or too heavy for the existing foam, but I think a 97.5 or 6 or 7 is pretty accurate to this tire. 97.5 would be deserved. I would probably say give a 10th here, take a 10th there. I would love to just call it a 97.6. I think putting it behind the 1.9 MTZ is probably a proper thing to do, because I think there's more of a versatility to the 1.9 Baja MTZ. And those you can just slap a Canyon Custom or a silicone in and be on your way. These will give you a little bit, like these are great. Like in terms of maneuverability and forward drive and foam to tire agreement, in speaking of OE foams, these are way, way up there. I'm not mad about the Baja MTZ at all. If you're going to charge $32 a pair for a set of tires, there needs to be a reason. I think these have a reason. They're 2.2 wides in X2SS. I don't think they had any glaring failings. Dual stage? I mean, you could, because you can use a 2.2 inner from any number of 2.2 dual stages, and then fridge foam the outside? Interesting, interesting. These are almost certainly destined for a vehicle in the fleet. Somebody in the Class 2 category is going to get these different wheels, probably different inserts, but is going to get these tires because I want to see these more. I like me a Baja MTZ. Is it my favorite? It's growing into being my favorite. Another of my favorite things is when you all come and join us here in the Canyon. I would just like to take this opportunity to thank you so much for doing so. I invite you to come back and see whatever we happen to have coming up in the future. I look forward to seeing you then. And in between now and that inevitable time, please, one and all, do your very best to have a good one, everybody. We'll see you again here from the Canyon. Baseline is so happy because he's gotten to test some decent tires recently. And he likes these. I like these. I hope you like these. If not, questions, comments, concerns, comment section below. All the usual things. We'll catch you in the next one.